It's time for the Coach Groves Show, where we sit down with the head coach of the Darlington Tigers football team and talk about all things Darlington School football. Now we go live to Matt Davis and Ian Griffin, who are standing by with Coach Wayne Groves.
Good evening, everyone out there in WLAQ land. We're glad to have you with us tonight.
What a beautiful land.
It is. It's a beautiful land. We're glad to have you with us for this edition of the Coach Grove Show. Coach, how you doing tonight?
Very good, very good. We got the fall festivities going on here.
No, Matt's gone above and beyond.
Yeah, nice
with
little
the decorations.
It really ties the room together.
Well, we got the set design team together, and they did this. Well, it's actually me and my mom and my sister.
Did they tell you to take any rug you wanted in the house? Is that how it worked out? Yeah.
Something like that. Yeah. But you know what? We were talking about this just before we went on the air, but next week, the show is the day before Halloween. So who knows what we can come up with for that.
Excellent, excellent. My 9-year-old is a Halloween enthusiast, so I'll see if we've got anything we can lend you as far as decorations. We have no shortage.
We need a skull and some bones
got
in
it
here.
covered.
Oh, got to have that.
Done.
And we'll just leave that in here.
Yeah. I'll make sure to bring them up next week. But we're coming off a big win on Alumni Weekend for the Darlington Tigers. Coach, let's jump into these questions. Fantastic performance, 31-0 win. Felt like you guys executed in all three phases of the game. Pitched a shutout. I know that's always special, especially for a defensive guy like yourself. So what are your thoughts on the win last week?
Well, I was real proud of the boys. You know, it's a huge region win, and it locks us into the playoffs. In one of those top four spots right now. But I like how our team went out and we took control of the ball game early. You know, in the past, I've always thought that, as a defensive coach, you want to defer to the second half, and want to go out and stop someone and then go down in there and score. Well, with our offense and how we have the ability to control the football, teams are going to take the ball anyway to not let us have it. So I've been in the mindset this year of you're taking the football if we win the toss, and we're going to go down and set the tone right now. And our team definitely did that. We had 3 good drives right in the first half. I think one of them went 12 plays. One of them went 16 plays, and those, 7 minutes and 6-minute drives. And, when you can keep other teams' offense off the field, you control the football game. That's what I was the most proud of. And I thought we executed really well in all 3 phases.
This is the Coach Grove Show. We're so glad you're with us today. And Coach, next question is, every team, as the season progresses, develops its own identity, character as you go through the season. So if you were having a conversation, and most people watching this, I suppose, knows this team pretty well, but if you were talking to somebody that never had seen the team play, unfamiliar with this group, how would you describe them?
Well, what I would say, with any team, hopefully they're buying into what myself and the assistant coaches are preaching to them. One, we have a set of core values for our football team, and our core values are toughness, integrity, family, trust, and then pride. And so when we talk about toughness, we talk about mental and physical toughness. So, I would say our team is mentally and physically tough by being down in a lot of games and having a no-quit mentality, next play mentality. The next is we want them to have integrity. We don't just want them to be good football players and good athletes. We want them to be good men. So we talk about life lessons and stuff like that a lot. And so hopefully my team's got great integrity. And then we have a family as our third one. We feel like we have our Dirty 30 brotherhood is one that is unmatched. I think our culture is really good as far as, everybody's pulling for everybody to get better. Everybody's working hard to push the other guy to be better than he was the day before. And so we feel like that's a part of it. Trust. We want the players to trust in the program, trust in the coaches, trust in each other. So trust goes a long way in the system and what we're trying to get accomplished. And then I want them to have pride. I want them to have pride in wearing that white helmet with that purple paw. And I want them to have pride in their school. And I want them to have pride in their personal performance and how they prepare and how they practice and how they handle themselves on the practice field and in the community too.
Well, you mentioned the helmet with the white helmet with the purple paw. Just have to look over it and admire it sitting over here on the table.
Yeah, and I think we've done a good job with the preaching to them about the Jolly Roger Black Flag mentality. That we'll never quit, we'll never back down, we'll never surrender, we'll never lose faith, and we'll just keep coming after folks. And if we lose, we'll correct mistakes and keep moving forward. And if we win, we'll analyze and see what we could have done better, and then still keep moving forward. And I think that's our program culture in a quick 2-minute nutshell. And I believe that's what you're seeing this year on the field.
Well, Coach, one such player that embodies all of that is last week's Honeymoon Bakery Player of the Game. That was Sammy Konchesky. It's his third time winning the award this year. He threw a touchdown pass to his brother Nate, rushed for 2 touchdowns, had an interception on defense as well. I mentioned he's won this thing 3 times already. It's a lot of fun watching brothers connect on a touchdown pass like we just referenced. So tell us about Sammy's performance last week, and then also, what's the experience of coaching brothers like for you?
Well, Sammy's doing exactly what I thought Sammy could do in our system, in our offense and defense, and he's continued to get better each week. He's getting more comfortable in the secondary, being a vocal leader, communicating coverages and coverage checks and things like that. And then he's doing the same thing on the offensive line. He's getting better reading the inside and outside veers. He's getting better at reading the midline doubles and triple options. And he's making checks up there that's getting us in the right play when we don't have the best look that we want to have. And so we're going to be as good as Sammy leads us on offense. I mean, there's no doubt about it. He's the one that makes it go. If he reads it right, then I feel like there's no team that can stop us. So that's a lot of pressure on him. But a kid like Sammy, he wants that pressure. He embraces that pressure, and he rises to the occasion when he gets the opportunity. With the brothers, that's always pretty cool. When my wife says, "Oh, I just love it when Sammy throws it to Nate." It just makes my heart happy. And I think a lot of people, see it that way too. That's pretty cool, brother to brother, and definitely it's cool for the parents and grandparents to be able to see their kids really executing like that. And Jess also said that it reminded her when we were at Rome when Zach Kadam was our left tackle, Knox Kadam was our quarterback. When he would block, have a good block, and Knox would score. It was the same. Warm, fuzzy feeling inside with brother blocking for brother and that kind of thing.
We normally call it brotherly love.
Right.
Some of our calls, we can't resist that.
Well, you just know that they grew up in the backyard drawing those plays up, playing for their favorite teams. And so to see it happen on a big stage like that, it's always special.
No doubt, no doubt. Well, last Friday was the last regular season home game on the schedule, and there's no doubt it's exciting for you and your team to get that one in the manner which you did. We mentioned the shutout and scoring 31 points, everything that went into that game. So, Coach, if you don't mind sharing, what was the theme of your post-game speech? And I'll preface that by saying I saw it posted on the internet, so I got to watch a little bit of it. But tell us about the theme of your post-game speech to your team and their families after the game, if you don't mind.
Well, one, I'm going to congratulate the boys for their efforts and what they did. I told them I was proud of them, of how we took control of the ball game early, like we talked about. I told them I thought it was the first time that we really put all 3 faces together: offense, defense, special teams. We controlled the football. We took care of the football, and so that was part of it. The second part was, I'm glad they worked hard to get the bragging rights in this thing, and that's important for them too. It's important, and they've earned the right, by the way they've not just practiced last week, and I thought we had a really good week of practice last week, which set us up for that, but, just how they've prepared, and that I tell them that's why the coaches, we push you. That's why we stay on you about doing things the right way in the weight room, on the practice field, so we can have moments like that. When I see the boys smiling, that lets me know that myself and all the assistant coaches' hard work was worth it when they get to have those moments. And then go to have a good homecoming. It's always good to win. So you got to answer the questions. We talked about that last week. You don't want to answer the questions of why you lost the game. You want to get congratulated on and say, good job that you won the game. And so the boys got to have a good homecoming and had some fun. Not too much fun, but they had some fun. And I think everybody was happy at Lakeside.
And then right back to work for a big matchup coming up this weekend and finishing off the season with a couple of road games as far as the regular season's concerned. And then we'll see everything shakes out after those 2 games conclude. Well, that's going to put a wrap on our first segment. When we come back, we're going to talk about the black shirts. And then at the same time, we're going to have the Getting to Know Coach Grove segment. And we're going to be talking about travel today. So we'll get into that in just a few minutes. But first, we've got to take a break. This is the Coach Grove Show, and we shall return.
Shop for your next car, truck, or SUV at Riverside Auto Group. Check out riversideautogroup.com today to browse their selection or visit with them in person at Riverside Chevrolet GMC in Rome, Riverside Toyota in Rome, and the all-new Riverside GMC Cadillac in Cartersville. Locally owned and operated by the Welburn family since 1974. That's Riverside Auto Group. Visit riversideautogroup.com.
Well, I promise you we don't have an 80s question coming up today, as I referenced just before we went to the break. We'll get back to that, though, I'm sure, because we were talking about the Van Halen thing again here during the break. And it was a short break, too, and it came up. But got a couple of comments here on our live feed that we'll mention real quick before we move into our next questions. But we got a Let's Go Tigers from Kelly Fountain. And then he's also let us know that he's ordered his Darlington head football coach Halloween costume. It's being shipped.
Okay. So, all right. Can't wait to see that.
Heard it here first on the Coach Grove Show.
Can't wait to see it.
How about that?
All right. Well, let's just go ahead and jump back in.
Yeah. This segment's always a lot of fun, and we always start it by talking about your black shirts. So those are awards that go out to people who performed well on offense, defense, special teams, and then your scout teams. So let's talk about those guys this week.
All right, first on offense. This is a kid that's played, spot played, and started some ball games before, but he's kind of had been out of the lineup for a little bit, for a few weeks, and really stepped in, and I was extremely pleased with him. Colton Moman ended up starting on the offensive line last Friday, and I thought he had a really good ball game. You know, he's fitting up linebackers, and he's doing a great job on all his blocking and being really physical with there. You know, and Colton, Colton doesn't weigh 165 pounds, but he's out there freaking grinding and playing with a chip on his shoulder and playing as physical as he possibly can. And so we had a lot of guys that blocked well, but that stood out. I thought Trenton Moore had a good game, blocking, and I thought Noah Duggan did some good things on offense, but Colton Moman been able to step in that hadn't started in a few weeks and be able to play at a high level. I thought that was really good. On defense, it's been a little while since he got one, and we had when you shut people out, there's a lot of good defensive play going on. But Sam 20 played the best. He had ended up having 7 tackles, but he had the least misreads at linebacker. He had the least non-commits of anybody on defense, and that's a non-commit. I consider you didn't play your position the right way, like you've been coached, or within the scheme or the call of the defense on that particular play. So Sam 20 played really well. We thought. Noah Duggan had 10 tackles, kind of an honorable mention role. Evan Parton had a lot of production and a sack, but we thought Sam 20 was the one that earned the black shirt. On special teams, and we've mentioned his name the last few weeks, and I think probably the last 3 games he's had a tackle or multiple tackles on special teams. He had the same thing this week, made another impact on special teams. So Stuart Grigsby gets the special teams black shirt. Trenton punted the ball well when he had the time. He had the big run on the bobble snap there, and
we saw the smile on your face after that. Just so you know, man,
right there, he had a big play. But we thought Stewart, just with his consistent play and then having another big productive night on special teams, earned him the black shirt. Simulation scout offense, all right, goes to a newcomer. He's a new guy that's first time out for football. He is from Nigeria, and from Nigeria to Smyrna to Darlington, Isaac Adiola. And so Isaac did a great job playing scout team simulation guard last week. A lot of the pulls on the counters and all the powers. He's giving us that good look, and he's just consistently getting better. And I think he's going to be a name that's probably going to be on your radar next year. He has a good offseason in the weight room and keeps learning his football knowledge. He's going to be one that's going to step in and be a contributor next year. So Isaac Adiola is going to get the simulation offense. On simulation scout team defense, it's a name that's been consistent, and again, we're very high on this kid. Thinks he's got a lot of potential in the future, and that's Caleb Covington. He's a linebacker, a sophomore linebacker, plays some wide receiver, and he keeps getting better every day. He's a great lifter in the weight room. And he just keeps on pushing himself, keeps on working to develop his skills. And he's just quite not good enough to break into the starting lineup yet because we got some older guys in front of him. But he's going to be a ball player, and he's making plays on special teams, if you'll notice too. So Caleb Covington gets the Simulation Scout D award.
Awesome. Well, congratulations to those guys. And again, a segment that we always really enjoy getting to hear about the Tigers and the good things that they are doing to help the team succeed. And it's been a fun season so far. And we got a couple of regular season games left. We're going to jump into the next game on the list at Temple coming up in our next segment. But we're going to wrap up this segment by having the Getting to Know Coach Groves question of the week. And this week is related, it's going to be related to travel. So what we want to know is, where is somewhere that you would like to travel to, but that you have not been to yet?
Well,
you got to travel.
Just like about most people in Rome, Georgia, I've been to Panama City. I've been to Destin, and a lot of different other places in the United States. But I think, kind of bucket list stuff. The Groves family, my great grandparents came from Ireland and Scotland. I think it'd be cool to go back there one day to see where the Groves family came from, and just see some of that. I think I'd like to go to. I've been to Rome, Georgia, lived here. I think I'd like to go to Rome, Italy, and see some of that. Just all the history and all the sites there. I think would be really cool to spend a week or two there and enjoy that. And then sports. I'd like to go see the Army-Navy game. I'd like that to be a trip. I'd like to, and I haven't been to Chicago Wrigley Field or Boston Fenway, so I'd like to do that. And then, Grayson's about to the age where we can go Disney World. So that's going to be a trip coming up pretty soon, I think, in the next couple of years. I've never been. My wife's been multiple times growing up, but I've never been. So me and Grayson are going to experience together and awesome. Do Disney World. So that'll be fun.
It's awesome, man. Let me know if you need some pro tips. That's a trip I've made a few times. So
I haven't been since I was probably 11 or 12 years old. So it's been a long time since I've been there. But
we were just there in February, and it's a good time, especially if you like to ride rides.
You got anything left on your travel bucket list?
I've covered a lot. I've covered a lot of it,
places.
Especially in the States. But I haven't gotten I haven't gotten over the pond and gone to Europe. And I get my nice little pale skin complexion from Scotland and Ireland too. So I've got to get over there and check that out. There's a lot of places. If I'm going to get to Europe, I'm going to try to take a month and see it all while I'm there, because I don't know if I'd ever make it back. So, but yeah, I'd like to see all the sites of it. Go to Spain, Germany, all of it.
It's funny that you mentioned that, because I saw a joke not too long ago, and it said that after 40, men either really get into World War II history or they get into smoking various meats. And it's funny because when I saw that, I laughed, because I'm like, man, I got a double whammy, because I like doing both of those things quite a bit. But I'd also like to go over to Europe. But both of my grandfathers, they were in the Pacific, but they were in World War II. And in recent years, I've kind of gotten into learning more about the history and watching the Band of Brothers and Pacific and all that kind of stuff. And they have these Band of Brothers type themed cruises that they do, where you can go to the beaches of Normandy and go to Bastogne and go to different places in Germany and things of that nature, and tour different places of historical significance related to World War II. So I'd like to do that. But at the same time, I'd like to see some different places in Germany and Switzerland. I really like to look at mountains. So I'd like to see the Swiss Alps and things of that nature. But I also would like to find myself across the pond.
Nice.
So anyway, anything anybody else would like to add to that?
I got a few stadiums to cross. I've been to a bunch of them, but I need to get to the Rose Bowl. I need to see a game. I've heard you have to go to Allen Fieldhouse in Kansas, and then I want to get to a game out at UCLA too for some basketball.
I'm not a huge NFL fan necessarily. I'm more interested in seeing different college, stadiums and things of that nature. But I would like to make it to Lambeau at some point.
Yeah,
but
absolutely.
Anyway, well, that's going to wrap up this segment. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we are going to start talking about the next game, and that's going to be at Temple against the Tigers. So when we say go Tigers, we're going to have to get a little bit more specific at the end of the show. I've got to make a mental note. Go Darlington Tigers. But anyway, we'll be back after these messages on the Coach Grove Show.
Shop for your next car, truck, or SUV at Riverside Auto Group. Check out riversideautogroup.com today to browse their selection or visit with them in person at Riverside Chevrolet GMC in Rome, Riverside Toyota in Rome, and the all-new Riverside GMC Cadillac in Cartersville. Locally owned and operated by the Welburn family since 1974. That's Riverside Auto Group. Visit riversideautogroup.com.
All right, we welcome you back here for our final segment of the Coach Grove Show. We're glad you're with us on the YouTube channel, also Facebook Live feed, or you may be listening to the radio edition on Friday night. We'll get to that point, but we're just going to go ahead and jump back into our questions with Coach Groves. And Coach, you guys are hitting the road 2 weeks in a row to close out the regular season. First up is a trip to Temple for a Battle of the Tigers. Temple 6-2, 3-1 in region play. It's a big game with playoff implications. So what all is potentially at stake in this particular game? Obviously, the goal is to win every game, but how important is this game into region play?
Well, it's extremely important because you have playoff seedings and you have power rankings that are implications that are on the line there. So, mathematically, we've secured the top 4 spot in the region, which typically gives you a playoff berth. So we're there. We're going to make the playoffs, and so now we're working on just moving to I feel like if we win 1 or 2 of these games, we're going to get a home playoff game. If we can win both of them and we play really well, we'll get a bye in the first round and a home playoff game. And so that's what we're shooting for. And it feels good. And that's what I've talked to the kids about. You control your own destiny. What we do, we control this. If we go out and handle business and we do what we're supposed to do, then you're going to set yourself up for a good playoff run. And that's what we want. We want to set ourselves up for the best possible playoff run. And, what I always tell them, if we can get to the Sweet 16, all the teams are good now. Anything can happen, and you can make a run. And why not us? That's been the message. Why not us? So that's what we're shooting for. That's what we're preparing for, and hopefully we can get that done.
Well, Coach, let's dive into your opponent a little bit. Temple has been putting together one of the most successful seasons they've had in program history. We talked about their record in that last question, 6-2, overall 3-1 in region play. How would you describe this team after watching their film?
Well, what in the coaching world, people have always said, Temple's always got, dudes. They've always had guys. And I don't, for whatever reason, they hadn't put it together, but it seems like they've had a consistent coaching staff. And that's usually how you develop a successful program is you have consistency in your coaching staff. You don't have a lot of turnover. And so they've had that. They've got some good position coaches, good coordinators there. And so they've developed the team, and they've got some really good players. So what you're going to see out of them is they're going to be very athletic. They're going to play 4-4 cover 3 on defense. Now they do some things, up front, move the front a little bit and change that up, but they try to keep that 4-4, cover 3 shell as much as possible. On offense, they're a very good wing tee offense. I mean, they're a true wing tee. You're going to get power, you're going to get counter, you're going to get trap, you're going to get the boots, you're going to get the waggles and belly passes, you're going to get the jet sweeps and rocket tosses, and they run. There's a little bit of midline in there, midline double option. So. You got enough to prepare for. They do a great job with formations and stuff like that. They're not as crazy as some wing tee teams get. I've game planned against some teams. In 2017, Ware County was true wing tee with Franklin Stevens, and we broke them down. They had 128 different formations. Whoa. Temple is not quite that, but there's enough formations that, you got to be able to identify those things and make appropriate calls and get lined up so you don't get out leveraged at the point of attack. So we've had a great week of practice of getting that done, and so hopefully we're going to be able to execute on Friday.
You referenced dudes on this team, so let's talk about some of their key players and some of the guys that you see that just really jump out when you watch film on this team that make plays for them.
All right, the first one is their B-back or their fullback, number 0, C.J. Gray. He's a junior. He's 5'9", 200 pounds. I think he rushed for about 1,800 yards last year, and he is a guy. He is a Division I running back. He is not the only guy they got. Their 4x100 team was the state champion in Single A last year. 3 of those guys are their offensive skill guys. They're either receivers or running backs, and so. One of those is going to be number 16, safety Manny Watkins. He's 6'2", 195 pounds. He's super fast. Another running back, Kason McNally. He's a senior, 5'10", 175 pounds. Coach's son, those kids are always really good ball players. Tight end Hudson Nix. He's a tight end Mike linebacker. He's 6'1", 200 pounds. Big offensive line. Left tackle Ryan Self. He's 6'5", 290. Right tackle, Dominique Nicolosi, he's 6'4", 285. And the center, who's a really good quick blocker, is Junior Presley. He's 5'10", 235 pounds. And then 2 D linemen that really stand out, D tackle number 50, Serdario Ferguson, and then number 1, D tackle Walter Clark. And they're both very active up front.
Excellent. Well, Coach, after that last question, you talked about the multiple formations you're going to see from this Wing T Temple offense. Sometimes your best defense is good offense. So how important is ball control for the Tigers this week? You did a great job with it last week, keeping Model's offense off the field. And then what are the other keys to the games for the Tigers to get a W?
Well, that's definitely part of it. We want to control and take care of the football. We still want to win that physical part of the football game, so we want to win the hitting game there. We want to make sure we clean up our penalties and not shoot ourselves in the foot and be our own worst enemy. And then, like always, I'm going to preach we're going to make some big plays on special teams. If we can do that, we can be physical, win the hitting game, control, take care of the football, clean up the penalties, and make some big plays on special teams, we'll have a good night.
Awesome. It's going to be a heck of a matchup. Battle of the Tigers Friday night. And I got to know, are we looking at Stormtroopers, or are you putting a little splash of purple in there this week?
We're going to go back Stormtrooper look this week. It's been a good road combination for us. And so, again, the coaches would revolt if I try to do anything other than that. So we're going to keep with the tradition. We're going to roll with the white on white and the Stormtrooper look.
Well, Coach, as we get ready to wind down the show, obviously, as we've referenced a couple times throughout the show, that the regular season home games are done, but the Tigers need you, fans. The Purple Tigers need you. So just want to give you an opportunity to invite all the audience here that are listening on a Wednesday to get on down there and support these kids.
Well, this team is worth paying admission to see. And if you've watched them, they're going to compete hard. They're going to represent Darlington the right way. And we've set ourselves up where a lot of people probably thought that we couldn't be. And we've set ourselves up. We've made the playoffs again for the 18th straight year. And now we're trying to get back and get these seniors another home playoff game. And so we didn't want last week to be our last home game. And so if we can handle business these next couple of weeks, we're going to give them that opportunity and be able to make a playoff run. But we need you out there on Friday night. All Tiger fans, we need you on Friday night because this is extremely important for our boys and where we're going to take the rest of this season. And so if you can possibly be there, be loud, wear purple, and let's get after them together.
And if you can't make it, we'll be there with WLAQ and also Northwest Georgia Media and the live stream produced by Northwest Georgia Media on the Darlington channels and everything. But again, as Coach Groves said, be there. There's nothing like saying I was there.
Yeah.
That's my favorite 3 words in events and sports.
And it's not a bad drive, right up 27. I mean, I think 53 minutes you're in there and ready to watch the Tigers.
It's going to be a lot of fun. Looking forward to it. Well, Coach, thanks for your time. We always enjoy this. It's always a pleasure. And go Purple Tigers this weekend.
Right.
My mom chimed in with that and helped us out. But all right, well, that puts a wrap on the show. Thank you, guys. Hope everybody has a great rest of your week. And go Darlington Tigers. That puts a wrap on this episode of the Coach Grove Show.
Thank you for tuning in to this week's edition of the Coach Groves Show. We invite you to join us again next week as we discuss all things Darlington football with head coach Wayne Groves. Go Tigers!